Bebo, and I'm here at the Steve Jackson Games booth here with Randy, I can't pronounce his last name, to play, well, not really play, but talk about Car Wars and interview a little bit about this awesome game that is not yet out, right?
It's not out yet. We're still doing a couple of modifications to it, and it will go through Kickstarter hopefully later this year or early next year.
Awesome. So Car Wars is a re-implementation of a game that was far more complex, and now you've streamlined this?
Steve Jackson invented it in the 80s. Sam Mitchke and I have been working with other people and from other people's work to streamline it, so it's not what it was. A lot of what it was spreadsheets and a lot of math, and it got very slow. A longer game than it needed to be for the fun you were getting out of it. So we've streamlined it and taken out a lot of the math, and now it's cards instead of writing on a spreadsheet or things like that. So,
awesome.
Yes.
So what inspired you to work on this project and kind of create this new Demolition Derby game?
I was inspired when my boss said, "Hey, you're working on this project." And that really got to me because I like working. But no, this particular project, it was fun. You're driving around in cars and shooting each other. That's a blast, literally and figuratively. So that was always neat. And seeing the little parts that weren't working together early on, I really do enjoy taking a process and making it better and making, well, okay, that's streamlined. This is more fun now and fast. We lost a little bit of fun, but we took out a lot of what I call the tax prep. That's all the stuff you're doing in between having fun.
Right.
So if I can strip that out, I saw a lot of that when we were working on this game, and I'm like, no, we can pull that out and just streamline it. So that is what got me into it and got me more into it. Sam Mitchke is much more on the art side and the layout side and just like, oh no, and it's always good to have a second voice to go, no, that's a stupid idea, and then just to fight about it until you get something that's a great combination in between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. So is this what the models are going to look like when they're done?
Up until last week, that was what they were going to look like. This model is at what is called an HO scale. It's like trains and stuff like that. About a week ago, with all of the feedback we had received, we decided we were going to go up to a larger scale, like die-cast metal car scale. So it's going to be
like a Hot Wheel size.
Like a Hot Wheel size.
Awesome.
It'll go up to a larger scale. What that means is we're going to go back through the rules and get everything to work on that scale and make sure we haven't forgotten anything. But the game is going to play the same. It's just going to be larger cars on a bigger scale.
Fantastic. So what can you tell me a little bit about the movement in the game and how it works? Because we've got all these pieces out here, and I want to show those off.
We've got all these pieces. What's over here on the left would be what you have in front of you off the table. And this is how we keep track of what has happened to your car, where your weapons are on your car, whether you're on fire, or things like that, how fast you're going.
Can you drive while on fire?
Yeah.
Amazing.
At the start of the turn, though, you're going to take damage if you don't put the fire out.
Right.
And that fire is still just going to burn on the next turn.
Do you have to stop to put the fire out, or are you like super dexterous?
No, you get control tokens. So in Imagination, there's a system on your car that helps put out fires, but you have to operate the system while you're flipping switches. You're not driving and shooting, so you lose some of the control tokens that you would otherwise have. And you do not want to go out of control. That's a bad thing. As far as moving, when you're actually moving, if we were going at speed 2, I could move forward 1, straight forward. That's using up one of my movement points. Or when I moved forward, I could go anywhere in this free zone. There's a little bit of your driver is able to do this without having too big of a challenge.
Okay.
Those are both, they're not hard. You don't have to do anything for them. If you go any further, so you can also go and make a turn anywhere into this arc.
Okay.
When you do, that's a maneuver. You take an ace token. That helps you later. And you're going to roll dice. You roll yellow dice equal to your speed, plus a die for each section of this little protractor end. It's not really a protractor, but each section. So if I was only over this section, any part of it, I'd have to roll a green in addition to what I was doing. Okay. And then as you go further, you'd have to roll a green and a yellow, then a green and a yellow and a red, and then possibly even a green, a yellow, and 2 red in addition to your speed.
Okay.
So going fast, it's more difficult to do turns, and when you roll these shields that have a skid in the middle, you lose control tokens.
Okay.
So that is another way you can go out of control.
Can
And
you
then-
gain back control tokens during the game?
At the end of every round, you lose any control tokens you had, and at the start of the next round, you will refill with whatever control tokens are showing. So if this were my car, I'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 control tokens.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone had shot off a bunch of my tires, my speed would be reduced, and I would only have 5 control tokens now.
Okay.
Or if I sped up and those are covered, now I would only have 2 control tokens.
And if you lose control, you spin out, right?
If you lose control and you still have, and you don't, it's kind of complicated, but not really. So we roll these dice. If I only had 1 control left and I only needed to lose 1, I would be out of control, but I wouldn't spin out.
Okay.
But if I rolled 2 of these and I only had 1 left, now I can pay for one of those, but I have one that's unpaid for, and that's going to make me lose a tire and spin out if I was turning to the left. So if we were going that way, the car would spin out 1 section there.
Okay.
And if it was more, if I had 2 or 3 or 4 that I had to pay for, it would be a further spin.
Okay.
And I would lose more tires for not being able to pay for them.
So you kind of lose control and drift a little bit.
You do, not in a good way sometimes either.
Right.
Because the positions of the cars are very important to who you're going to be able to shoot at, where they're going to be able to shoot you. If all of your armor on the right side is ripped off, you don't want to put your right side towards people unless you really want to shoot them from that side.
Right.
Because that's where you're exposed.
So it's easy to play, easy to learn, but like very complex strategy when it really gets down to it. Planning ahead is critical in this game.
It is, especially you could play at 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. In a 2-player game, it's a duel. It's this head-to-head duel where your positioning of your car is vital. In a 4-player game, it's a crazy, chaotic melee, and no matter what you do, there's going to be someone somewhere you don't want them, so you have to be more careful, but still putting out the damage. But yeah, it's where do I want to be? Where do I want to drive? It's vroom, vroom, pew, pew.
Awesome.
Let's get out there and shoot.
Well, Car Wars is going to be on Kickstarter soon-ish, hopefully.
It won't be a secret. We're not going to put it out and keep it a secret. If you follow us on any of our social media, if you've done one of our Kickstarters in the past and you're still getting those emails, you're going to get notified. If you go to sjgames.com, we have there's a blog on the front, has been going for decades. That is going to say, hey, this Kickstarter is coming up. This Kickstarter is coming up. When you hear about it, tell your friends. We want it to be as popular, as well known as possible, so that information gets out there, so that we can put as much in these boxes as possible and have as successful a Kickstarter as possible.
And they're going to be big, awesome Hot Wheels-sized cars. So this is definitely something you're going to want to get in on. Are they going to be unpainted miniatures?
We are going to include some unpainted plastic miniatures. This is prototype pieces, so
Right.
This is not what you're going to see.
3D printed.
That's a 3D printed model, but it will look similar to this. It's going to grow in scale because we went up to the larger scale.
Yep.
But this is essentially what it will look like, and it will detach from the base. So if you have your model, some die-cast metal car that you thought looked cool and you kit bash it and paint it up however you want, you'll be able to alter that and put it on the base and drive around with it.
So you can also paint your own minis or change your model however you like, which is a really neat feature of Car Wars. So look for it on Kickstarter, and if you have any questions or comments below, feel free to leave them, and one of us will get back to you and help you out. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.